side, so we have the stronger signal and just kind of scan the room and go in, and then we'll come back here.
Yeah, right now he's live, but he has the SHN logo spinning.
It happens every 2 years. It's the University Interscholastic League District Realignment. Today, Texas schools find out their district homes through the year 2020. Good morning, everybody. Live on YouTube, you're watching SHN's production of District Realignment, live from Austin, Texas. Carl Schoening along with Chuck Cracy. We're happy you tuned in this morning, as it's an exciting day for a lot of teams in general to find out who their new rivals are going to be.
Yeah, it's always an exciting time of year, especially related to football, but it affects other sports as well. Schools that SHN covers, I guess initially we'll focus on interviewing some of those coaches, but then we're going to reach out to some of the coaches that aren't necessarily part of the broadcast family. We're going to talk to Coach Smith from Leander. The rumor going around the interwebs is that there's going to be a kind of a super district in Williamson County. 13-6A will change. It'll include the Round Rock ISD 6A schools along with the 3 Leander 6A schools and potentially Hendrickson out of the Pflugerville ISD. So you're looking at 7 or 8 really solid local football teams that won't have to travel to the other side of town, or to Kyle or things like that to play their rivals. And a lot of these teams play each other pre-district anyway. So take Leander, for example. They played Stony Point, Westwood, and McNeil in the last couple of years. So
yeah, it's smart. I feel like they were getting a little too adventurous on the last realignment, where you had a lot of schools that were traveling in the greater Austin area. You had, Leander in the same district as Lake Travis and Hayes. You got to go all around the general area. And now the rumors, at least, it's just rumors.
Yeah,
keep in mind.
We'll find out in a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to get the official word, and we'll give it to you as soon as we get it, and we'll go over everything, and then we'll give you real analysis. But at the moment, it sounds a little bit more like common sense might prevail in terms of, hey, why not just have teams that are within 30 minutes of travel time with each other play teams within 30 minutes of travel time, instead of all this, potentially hour travel time from North Austin all the way down to below South Austin.
And on Fridays, it's even longer than an hour. So you know how Austin traffic is, especially if you have to be on Mopac or 35. So, but and some may think, oh, trading, well, at least those Leander ISD schools won't be dealing with Lake Travis or Westlake in district. But even if that's the case and they end up in the Round Rock district, they still have to contend with Round Rock High, with Cedar Ridge, who were in the quarterfinals just this past season. And along with Stony Point playoff team as well, and Hendrickson, who's good year in, year out almost. So it's not much of a trade-off. You save a little bit in travel, and it's more beneficial to parents and students who want to attend away games. So,
and I think that's almost
hopefully it'll be that.
Yeah, and I think that's almost a goal of, hey, it's still about families and students and supporting the athletic events. And it's hard to go from Leander anywhere past downtown Austin on a Friday, like you were saying. So I think one of the things we're anticipating is certainly more local games, everything a little more local. And, there's rumors of 9-team districts, in which case there's only one non-district game. And, you have to deal with all of those kind of stipulations. And all of a sudden, districts, we're going to have non-district scheduling taken care of today, because people will find out that all of a sudden, hey, are we going to be dropped from somebody else's schedule?
There may even be districts with 10 teams. I read, I believe it's the Cypress ISD in Houston. They actually have 11 schools, and 10 of those are 6A, and they're just potentially going to lump them all into one competitive district. So, you know, they'll be playing each other from game one. And so the district race is going to likely start much earlier for most teams than what they're accustomed to. You know, in the past 4 years, Leander's been able to schedule between 3 and 4 non-district games preparing for district play. It's probably not going to be the case going forward. So.
Yeah, and that certainly changes the way schools have their spring and fall preparations, and over the course of the summer, you just got to be ready to hit the ground running, because you don't get those tune-up games. And you know, some people have different philosophies of, hey, this is a team I think we can beat, or hey, this is a team I think we'll have trouble with. And either way, coaches had that game to kind of get a barometer of where their team needs to find improvement. They might not get it this year.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And it is valuable. It is valuable to have those games and be able to afford to lose them and it not affect your postseason positioning or even potential of making the postseason.
Yeah, well, we certainly will get you. Yeah, it'll be interesting, and we'll get you all of the information we can. It's a busy day just down the hallway from us. All of the coaches in the local area are coordinating. There's a couple other satellites around here that will in the state of Texas that will have other district realignment, but they get all the same information we do. I believe a lot of this information is coming out of Austin and then being sent to other schools, because this is where the UIL has its home base set up, and the headquarters will go ahead and send everything out. We'll get you everything as it comes into us. Stay tuned here on YouTube. Carl Schoening along with Chuck Cracy and the rest of the SHN staff. We're happy you tuned in. Stay tuned. Check out some of the sights and sounds. We'll be back momentarily to give you a little bit more coverage here from Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex in Round Rock, Texas. Thank you. That was great.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Carl Schoening back here on YouTube Live. We are with Assistant Athletic Director of Round Rock ISD, Lee Penland, and Coach Penland. It's madness out here. Can you talk us about just the general setup, organization of what you guys need to do to get these coaches all the information that they're about to receive?
Well, we have this meeting here every 2 years when we have realignment. We host it here at Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex, Round Rock ISD. And in conjunction with Region 13 and the UIL, they bring us the packets. We've had them since late yesterday afternoon, and we have them upstairs. But we just set up our big meeting room, and we have some vendors that bring in donuts and drinks and things like that, and just try to have it. And obviously, there's a big board in there, so the coaches can write what games they need or scrimmages they need on the board and help them communicate with the other coaches. But here at 9 o'clock, we'll bring down the packets and hand those out to all the head coaches. And then the mad rush will be on, trying to figure out what districts you're in and what region you're in and what weeks you need games, because there's always something that changes that the coaches are not aware of.
Is there an advantage for coaches who have been through this the first time, or do you guys kind of help everybody out and give them equal playing field in terms of the mad rush that begins here in about 15 minutes?
Yeah, no, it'll be the same for everybody. We'll hand them all out at the same time. We'll have 3 or 4 people handing out the packets. But, you know, I mean, it's a little bit of an advantage if you've done it before. Not that you get a packet sooner or find out sooner, but just you understand and have a network and communications with other coaches and kind of have an understanding where you want to be or where you know, who you want to play and those kind of things. And so some of the more experienced coaches have a little better, you know, understanding. But, hey, the UIL can throw you into a tizzy real quick if you're not, you know, if there's something unexpected.
One last question before we let you go. What is really just kind of the general atmosphere after everybody gets going? You've done it before. Is it just a mad rush, or do you maybe give them a little bit of leeway of letting teams know what they're going to do, or is it just everybody is finding out at the same time?
Well, I mean, everybody will find out at the same time, but you just got to realize that there's schools here from San Antonio, Austin, Waco, from you know, Bryan. There's people here from Abilene. So, you know, you have all different classifications and districts and things like that. And anytime something changes dramatically, that changes what those coaches are doing, and they may be scrambling. You know, if you go from an 8-team district to a 6-team district, or the district really changes, or they put you in a different region, there's a lot of things that can happen. So those coaches, they're good at adapting and recovering and figuring it out, and then you know, after the initial shock, and so they'll and then some of it will be, you know, relatively similar to what's been going on, so it won't be a big change. You just never know.
Well, we appreciate your time, and good luck with all the madness.
And hey, appreciate y'all being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. And that was Lee Penland, and we'll go ahead and continue our coverage, as we are just moments away from finding out where schools are going to be. live here from Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex. Once again, UiL District Realignment. Only about 10 minutes away now until the coaches get the information. As soon as we get the information, we'll go ahead and send it to you. But as you can see, it's a big chatter, and we're about to find out what's going on.
First, I'm Dwayne White, Athletic Director of Round Rock ISD, and I want to thank you guys for coming out here on Vendor Day, obviously, with all the vendors in the house. I assume that's why we're here, and I appreciate you coming. But seriously, in about 10 minutes, we're going to open the box. Okay, it's 8:50. Between now and then, I need this room to be vacated by people who are not head coaches, athletic directors, or lone campus representatives. Okay? I don't have enough packets in that box, I promise you. All right? But I do have more packets than the group that I just mentioned. As soon as that group of folks have packets, we're going to take the others right out that side door. So if you're not athletic directors, head football coaches, or lone campus representatives, if you want to try to get a part of that next wave of packets, that's where they're going to go, is out that door. Okay? But that's the only way I can try and get it in the hands of those people that probably need it most, as quick and efficiently as possible. I do want to thank Adrenaline Fundraising, Clint Taylor, George Herman, Greg Holt, Untitled Sports, Lee Bridges, SSR Letter Jackets for bringing the donuts. And again, you should thank Round Rock ISD for not charging for parking. Anyways, that's next year's plan, or 2 years from now. But seriously, the next 10 minutes, if I can have that group of people in the room, right at 9 o'clock, I've got a couple of representatives from Region 13, Craig Spinn and Rob Essler, are going to be here to keep us legal in those terms. 9 o'clock, we're going to crack open the box, and then to everyone in the room, I wish you good luck. All right, questions? Thank you.
Well, you're Coach Wyrick. That's our cue to get out of here. But we're going to go ahead and get you the results as soon as all these other coaches find out the results of where their district realignment will take them. We'll be back in a moment here on SHN Sports. Let's get out of here. We're going to get in trouble if we don't.
Doing all right. Just hiding in the back. Just hiding in the back. Man, you guys have the best spot. You guys are always. I'm not excited. Just trying to get back. Good luck. Thanks. So that many people in there. Now we're gonna go. That way I can have
it. So we're back here in our spot. It's a little corner that they've had it away from the action. But Carl's shining along with the rest of the SHN crew here. We're going to get you some interviews, immediate reaction, get you all the news that you need here soon. Until then, stay tuned here on YouTube, and we will go ahead and get you everything you need for all the live action, as we're only moments away from finding out ourselves what's going on. All right. Snoop Daniels here. And, we'll let you finish chewing real quick. As hey, there were free donuts. I feel like that's the reason half the people are out here.
Hey, that's why I spent all my money on 6th Street last night, so I'm broke. I'm just playing.
Well, no, but I mean, I think that's kind of the draw here. Free food is always one of the big things about any athletic event in the bigger Austin area. Carl's showing, by the way.
Oh, come on, what's up? Oh, no, I don't think I've ever mentioned it first. What's up, Carl?
I know, neither have I.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay, word up. No, but for real, this is like Christmas Day, for real. It's the beginning of a new era for high school football. I can remember the bandstand when we were covering Vandergrift and Rouse and Eastview and Cedar Ridge and new programs who played 2 years of non-varsity like a Weiss and Glenn are doing right now, and to see them grow and go to state championships with Vandergrift. 4A 6A, and Cedar Ridge doing the same thing in 6A last year. So there's not a lot of new life, and over the next 2 years, this is going to be the landscape of what SHN Sports and Fanstand and all the other media people cover. So it's going to be fun.
Hey, it's a good opportunity here to explain all the great stuff you do at Fanstand, and we're happy that you. I didn't really mean to just pull you all in, but you were nearby, and I was like, hey, why not? We were trying to find some time while we're all trying to get the news, you know.
Well, everybody is looking at their watch right now. You got 5 minutes. I don't know if there's, you know, the online lag. You might have 5 minutes and 30 seconds, but a lot of people anticipating these lists. And SHN, Rob Hibb, big shout out, Chuck Loshman and the team. They do a great job. They come on really strong here as of late, and really SHN is the new kid on the block and shining bright. And glad that y'all are covering the Austin area.
Hey, we appreciate it, and we appreciate all the work that you do. And you have all your iReporters all over the place, and you make those mixtapes, and it's great stuff.
Well, all the iReporters are in class right now. They're in homeroom. I think it's a B day, and lunch is at 12:30. So you eat all your fruits and vegetables. iReporters, be strong for 7-on-7. But yeah, for real, the iReporters are really like our main batteries, our Duracell batteries, our Energizer bunnies. They're out there on the field on game nights, on the sideline shooting, giving up their time. It's not easy to iReport. You guys have to be out there. You got to set up before. You got the technical spots. You got to see where you're at. You got to tweet, phone, do play-by-play, social media tweet. I mean, it's a lot. So these girls are giving all of their free time. I mean, they're getting experience in the meanwhile, but it's a lot of fun to cover their guys. And because they're peers, the girls are students and classmates. They're in homeroom right now with the players. They're a little bit more relaxed. We'll just put it like that. And so that's what results in the mixtapes, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we always appreciate your work, and I don't get too caught up in internet rumors and all that kind of stuff, but are there any maybe rumors or ideas that you have about what we might be learning in here in 4 minutes?
You know what? I don't know any. It's the one thing that I know nothing about. Redistricting, because you never know. Who would have thunk if they would have put Temple in 17-5A 2 years ago? They took Temple out of the Harker Heights area up in Killeen, and they brought them down to play with Georgetown and Temple, that's Tim talking about, and Hutto, and all the rest, Connolly, Manor. But it was really cool to see Temple playing in an Austin-centric team. Well, since redistricting happened, they've been shipped back up north, so we don't get that Temple effect. Dripping Springs, another team that's been with the Leander ISD school district for like forever, but then they got shifted into the district with Seguin and the schools down in San Antonio the past 2 years. So we haven't had as much of exposure to Dripping Springs since they got shuffled due to redistricting. Well, it's a new 2 years, and Drip could be coming back, or somebody could be going out, and some schools could be going to. We might lose Hayes and Lehman because Fanstand is very Austin-centric. If the Rebels and the Lobos go down to the San Antonio area, then we really aren't covering them that much. So this is a very pivotal day. And as far as rumors, man, anything can happen. It's totally unpredictable, and that's what's so exciting and special about today.
Yeah, I think it's like opening Christmas presents. You don't want to get hints about your Christmas presents now. You want to open the present and be happy and excited and surprised. And all of a sudden, if you're not surprised, you lose the magicalness of it. Well, we both got to try and snag information as quickly as we can for you guys. I know it's going to be terrible live YouTube, but go Spurs go, and we're going to have some dead air while we go figure this out.
Hey, go Spurs go. Yeah. Hey, I want to shout out to DeJounte Murray.
Oh, yeah, baby boy.
That's my homie.
Hey, that's the best.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. All righty. That was Snoop Daniel from Fanstand, and he's a great job covering all over Central Texas athletics. Carl Schoening one more time reporting for SHN Sports. We'll be back in just a few moments with some district realignment news, and we'll get it to you as soon as we get it.
They did do a 9-team district in our 6th section.
Did they?
Yep. Region 4.
So we got dripping some days. You see that, chance? Go to 10. No. 18 districts.
So we need a 1 and a 4?
We need a 1, 3, and a 4. Taylor?
Rick Morgan, Todd Moore says he's playing. Leave it alone if that's what you're trying. Let me know. All right, here you go. 5A division, 1 decision, Georgetown's volleyball district. Cedar Park, 7 teams on live stream. So that means you need a time. This was on our video.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scanning here.
Carl Schoening, Chuck Cracy back here at the Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex in Round Rock ISD, and it's all in. The papers went like hotcakes. I literally took 1 minute to get around to where they were to get the media. They were out. There were no more. We're extra. But luckily, we do have it online. We're just going to go ahead and do some reading. You get to see some of the madness that's going on. Dave England is in the war room as it is right now with everybody talking. And hey, Chuck, can you just go ahead and tell us what stands out to you right away?
The rumor we discussed pre-announcement is true. There's a 9-team super district, I suppose, in Williamson County. It's 13-6A. It includes Vandergrift, Vista Ridge, Leander, Hendrickson, Round Rock High, McNeil, Stony Point, Westwood, and Cedar Ridge. So that's 9-team district. You're looking at 8 district games for each of those teams. So as we talked about, you're only going to get 2 pre-district games to tune up for district play. So,
and that makes travel a lot easier for you and a whole bunch of other teams that had to go all over.
Parent, I'm pretty happy about that. I'm looking right now to see if I can find the where they put Westlake and Lake Travis. Let's see. We didn't have much time really to look here. Here it is, District 25, 6A. So they'll stay in the same numbered district, but it'll include Austin High, Austin Aikens, Austin Anderson, Bowie, Lake Travis, Westlake, Hayes, Del Valley, and Lehman. So Hayes and Lehman stay in the Austin area. So, you know, Snoop was talking about, you know, whether or not they were going to lose to the coverage of those 2 schools due to the Austin-centric nature of Fan Stand. And they're not going to. But Hayes and Lehman are still going to be facing Lake Travis and Westlake each during football and a couple of times in basketball. So.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's good for just the general geographics of everything. Yeah, because all of a sudden we're dealing with a lot less stuff in terms of how we're going. Well, we're going to go ahead and try and find the full complete list and just kind of give you guys a camera shot of everything. And when we come back, you'll find out where your school is. We're watching SHN Sports on YouTube.
You missed it by 30 seconds.
I think we're good, Coach, but I'll let anybody know if you're actually. Yeah, please do. I'm looking. I think I'm solid. Most of them are gone. All right, buddy. All right, Coach. He told me. Is there anyone here? See if they know if they paid or not.
Pass along these results to you as you can see on your screen. Carl Schoening bringing you this live on YouTube, and a lot of crazy stuff happening in the other room, and right now we're just going to go ahead and look at what's going on in the general districts as we look at the areas here. There's several new districts. I think a lot of people are interested in the Dallas general area, as District 8 there has Molina, Skyline, White, Duncanville, Richardson, Berker, Lake, Highlands, and Richardson Pierce. But District 9 there obviously has the Power, Allen, Jesuit, McKinney, and McKinney Boyd, Plano, and Plano East, West, and Prosper. Try and find you the areas there. District 14, you have Bridgeland with Bryan, and that's all those Cy schools: Cy Lake, Park, Ranch, Woods, Spring, Langham Creek, and Tomball, all there in District 14 6A. Working over to District 19 6A, it's Katy, Cinco Ranch, Maid Creek, Morton Ranch, Seven Lakes, Taylor, and Tompkins. Geez, Katy has grown so much over the years. I remember when it was just a one exit town and outskirts of Houston, and now it's like 8 exits.
What about District 12?
Yeah, we go over to District 12. It's Belton, Corpus Cove, Killeen, Ellison, Harker Heights, Shoemaker, Temple, Waco Midway. So, we're staying with the trend where geographics seem to make sense for the most part.
Yeah, and that's the best thing for parents and people that are fans of the team. I mean, really, you want to remain competitive and you want the districts to be competitive, but that shouldn't be the focus as much as a lot of these student athletes don't have the resources to travel, their parents or family, and so that's where SHN really comes in and makes it a lot better. If you can get a SHN to cover your team, those parents who can't travel can still see the games online. So, but yeah, you're right. It looks like it is going to be kind of based on proximity. So, of course, that doesn't work out so well in West Texas, but.
Yeah, well, that's the big area over in West Texas where the schools are always going to be a solid 45 minutes apart away from each other at least. Working our way through this 6A, we'll move over to District 25 where we already talked about Austin with Aikens, Anderson, Bowie, Lake Travis, Westlake, Buda, Hayes, Del Valle, and Kyle Lehman.
And Del Valle should add an interesting mix to that district there. Del Valle came off a pretty decent season this past year, so and that program seems to be turning around there. We'll see if they add a little bit of competitiveness to an otherwise pretty solid district.
District 26 6A there with Cibolo Steel, always a competitive team. Canyon, Smithson Valley, Judson, New Braunfels, San Antonio East Central. San Marcos is going to have to travel a little bit, but Clemens is also in that district. And, other than New Braunfels, that's a solid 45-minute drive for San Marcos, but they're kind of right there in the middle of either being in Austin or San Antonio. And San Antonio kind of fits it a little bit better, even though it's a little further away.
That's correct, and at least they didn't get grouped with San Angelo or something like that, because things have happened like that in redistricting. So I think again it goes back to proximity with a relative consideration of every school in the area, and so San Marcos, like you said, being kind of in between two major metropolises, Austin and San Antonio, although it's beginning to become one big metropolis. But you know, they're kind of central there, and so it's either Austin or San Antonio, and it looks like they're going south.
Yeah, it's San Marcos staying away from that Hayes and Butte area as they keep going further down south, and just a couple other districts as we finish up 6A. We have District 30 with Loyola and La Jolla. There you go, La Jolla. Oh yeah, McAllen and
Memorial.
McAllen Row, Mission.
How many teams is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they were able to keep that Valley there, the Valley District there, to 8 teams. I had heard that it might go 10. So looks like they moved a couple of schools elsewhere.
Yeah, and then if you go down to District 32 there, it looks like Brownsville has a couple schools that are.
They grouped them into 2 districts, looks like. But look at 28, it's a 10-team district. It's they're all Northside schools. So I was wrong on Cypress. It was Northside ISD, it looks like.
So, yeah, they're the ones that end up going in the 10-school district.
Yeah, look at that. It's I can't see that first one. Brandeis, Brennan, Clark, Holmes, Jay, Marshall, O'Connor, Stevens, Taft, and Warren, all San Antonio schools playing in the same district, 10 schools. So they're going to get 1 pre-district game, and then the rest of their season's going to be for postseason play.
Well, that seems to be the new adventure for a lot of these schools as we expand different sizes in the district. And any one of these particularly stand out to you, Chuck?
Well, I'm just noticing District 4 also has, there in Region 1, also has a 10-school district. Arlington, Arlington Bowie, Arlington Houston, Arlington Lamar, Arlington Martin, Fort Worth Pascal, Fort Worth Trimble Tech, Fort Worth, what is that? Fort Worth Men's Leadership Academy, Fort Worth, and then Crowley, it looks like. I guess that's for basketball. Those 2 schools are for basketball. So for football purposes, it's not a 10-team district. It's an 8-team district. So.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that Metroplex area, and it seems that they're keeping a lot of the Arlington schools together and expanding out to Fort Worth a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and try and find a few other things. If you want to, you can go to uiltexas.org to get final results. You can keep it tuned in here, and we'll keep you updated.
One last note, District 12, which includes Waco Midway, is in the same region now with the Leander and Round Rock schools. So that's a team that just lost in the state title game that you're going to find in your own region if you do make postseason. So you get out of this tough district, you may run across a Midway or a Belton anyway. So should be an interesting season coming up in the next 2 years.
Yeah, we're looking forward to all of the ongoings and new schools that have to face each other, and all familiar faces as well. So speaking of familiar faces, we're going to find a few coaches, see if they finished up their madness, and go ahead and get you the information as it comes flooding in. And once again, if there's a specific school you're looking for, you can always go to uiltexas.org. We'll be back in a moment here on YouTube Live.
See you. Good luck.
Well, we're in the middle of a busy place right now as we're trying to find some coaches to interview, but they're busy making their schedules over the next couple of years. So we'll try and hear from Jason Dean of Georgetown High School, Tim Smith from Anders, and a couple other people that we can maybe find and get on camera. So stay tuned here. Don't go anywhere. We'll get you the information as it comes in.
How's it going, Carl? I'm good.
We're with UiL Athletic Director of Austin ISD, and today, like Christmas to you guys, you get new presents, you get to find out what's going on, and you probably maybe had a little heads up on some things, but now you get to see everything. It's official.
It is official, and it's an exciting time. And the UiL, they come out with this every 2 years, and they always do a really good job. And so we're going to take what they give us and go make a schedule and go play the game. So we're looking forward to it.
What's the process of an athletic director's job to make sure this goes smoothly for all of the coaches in your districts?
Well, the main thing is just having all your coaches there, because it's a big scheduling time. And so as soon as the district comes out, you want to start scheduling all your preseason games off of that. And when you have all the coaches in the same room together, that's what makes it so easy for them to schedule games. So just having the people in the room in the right place to get everything done is the most important thing.
Were there any surprises?
No, I hadn't really seen a big surprise yet. You always kind of anticipate and try to guess, and so at this point, I don't think any big surprise. Like I said, we're going to take what they give us, and they do a great job, and we're going to go play.
What's the rest of the day like for you now that the coaches are pretty much doing their scheduling on their own? But is there anything that you need to do individually?
Yes, there is, and so we've got a meeting set up to get all of the draws together. So we've got to draw, who's 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through all our teams in our district. So we have that meeting set up at Berger today with all the teams in our 6A district, and then we'll do the same thing for our 5As tomorrow. So getting those meetings set up to draw and actually see who's going to play when throughout the year.
Okay, well, that's going to be a fun, exciting time. And when do you think we can expect maybe the schedules to be out?
It'll take a little bit of time. I mean, give us at least till next week.
Oh, then that's fine. Oh, I mean, I know in the social media era, everyone's like now, like give us now. But that sounds all right. I've been waiting on announcements next week for a little while now, so it happens sometimes. But
absolutely.
Hey, we appreciate your time,
sure,
and enjoy the rest of the insanity.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, that was Leah Anderson for Austin ISD. I'm Carl Schoening, and we'll see if we can find some other people to tell us what's going on today.
Good to see you again, too. Yeah, take care. Oh, is it?
So I have my phone on me, and if any of y'all want to tweet me, if you want to see somebody, you can tweet me at KSmedia13 and hit me up on Twitter, and I'll try and find you your guest. It looks like it's calming down a little bit, but it's still hard to pinpoint who's busy and who's not. So, and we're going to try and find somebody here, so stay tuned. The athletic director of Georgetown ISD, and just your general thoughts on how this morning's gone so far.
It's gone pretty good for us. We're pretty pleased. Of course, distance and location was important to us. It looks like they pretty much, with the exception of bringing Brenham in, we didn't quite see that one with the D2 with Eastview, but with the exception of that, everything's kind of in the Austin area. We've gone from 9 teams down to 17 districts, 8 in D2 football. So overall, the Georgetown ISD is pretty pleased with realignment.
Anything that kind of messes up what you guys maybe had coming into today in place, such as non-district games and all that kind of stuff?
It did. I know Jason lost one, Copper's Cove, because I think they went into a 9-team, so that threw us for a little bit of a loop. But they're busy catching up right now, and I think we'll get our schedules filled by the end of the day.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard, right? Because everyone's here.
That's true, but not everybody wants to play those Georgetown Eagles. You know how that is, so you got to barter a little bit, but that's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah, but the good thing about being on playing Georgetown is you're on SHN Sports, so there you go.
Well, I think when it gets down to it, that'll probably be the deal maker, and we're throwing that out there. All right.
All right, we appreciate your time.
Yes,
and have a good rest of your day. Thank you. All right, that was Todd York, the athletic director of Georgetown ISD, and they're pleased, so we're pleased here at SHN Sports. And we'll get you Jason Dean once he's busy once he's done figuring out what he's doing. So, well, stay tuned here. They do the same thing. Always quite a circus. I'm sure this isn't your first rodeo for this district realignment, and just your general thoughts on how the day's gone this morning. Any shocking results for you?
I think what is unique in the fact that there are multiple 9-team districts, and I think there's some pros and cons with that. And the pros is you only have to schedule 2 non-district games, and that's these biennial meetings. That's what a lot of these coaches, and for example, they will meet here to schedule non-district games and also receive the news of their new districts. But like, for example, San Angelo Central High School drove the 3.5 hours here to find a week 3 opponent. At first, it's kind of shocking, but this is common hat here. I mean, this is what happens. But you and I were just looking at some numbers here, and I think in 5A Division I, looking at District 12, all AISD, but they added Dripping Springs and Seguin. That's significant because it's an all AISD district. And then you have Westlake and Lake Travis to still in the same 6A district, but they're with some other Austin ISD programs as well. So the UIL has a thankless job because you will make some people happy, but never everyone.
Yeah, you know, we were just talking to Todd York from Georgetown, and he was like, we're real pleased with how everything's going. You know, just a couple things were a little different. He said there was a couple surprises, but I didn't catch who it was. But as I was walking around, I heard someone on the phone saying, I'm not happy. So, you know, you got to deal with both of those, you know, like that's his first time. He picks up the phone, and that's what he says. You know, he answers it, I'm not happy. And, you know, this is a very exciting time, and it's the next 2 years for all of these coaches to just figure things out and go through the process. I really don't know where to take it from here with most of those guys, because it comes down to they're busy in there, and I'm just trying to look for an interview. So I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you know, it's one of these things where we're still getting the information and processing it, and they're just trying to scramble. I think Corpus Cove was scheduled for Georgetown, and all of a sudden they're in one of those 9-team districts. And is that new? Because I'm still discovering the scene here in Austin, but 9-team district seems a little extreme to me.
It used to be common in the 80s and the 90s, but as metropolitan areas have grown, you see more 9-team districts like in West Texas. I wouldn't say rural, but I think it's really going to benefit the Austin area because you have so many high schools now that you can geographically place programs together, and why not? And that now you have so many at 5A and 6A. Why not do that? And it decreases the number of non-district games that you have to schedule. Then you can look at it from the other side of the coin. Okay, maybe some programs aren't playing as deep of quality schedule as they would like, but then again, the UIL has to make some decision. I think when you go for the higher number of teams in a district, it's better geographically, creates natural rivalries. But then you never know. We may have a new up-and-coming program, new rivalries, and I think it's overall the big 8 and 9 team districts, 7, 8 team districts really helped the overall quality of this area's football. And athletics. We don't want to forget about volleyball and everything else.
Oh, yeah, and it's one of those things where I think the last realignment, especially for teams like Leander, Westlake, Lake Travis, and down to, Hayes, that just didn't really make sense geographically, and it hurts because there's so much traffic in Austin, and you have to fight that on Fridays and get certain spots. And it seems to me that they've made more of a geographic push here, and like you said, the more natural rivals because more people can show up to those games, and it's potential of these kids grew up with each other as opposed to you're going to completely different parts of the state.
There was one district that really didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I'm trying to remember exactly which one it was, but it was Marble Falls having to travel all the way east, and I'm trying to figure out which district that was, but like this past year, you had Taylor in a 4A district traveling to meet Fredericksburg, which didn't make much sense. Again, UiL had to do something, but Marble Falls is in that situation now. They got to play someone all the way east. Brenham. Imagine Brenham. You know how far Brenham it is to Marble Falls. They are put in the same district this year.
Well, yeah, and that's just the tough luck of the draw, and maybe I understand there are some politics that go into this, and that's when you start pushing for more politics of, hey, we'd like to not travel so much, gas costs and all of that. Right. So we appreciate your time, and where can people check out your coverage of this?
Absolutely, on KVU.com, and then of course on Twitter at @SeanC_KVU, and Mike Barnes, he'll have it as well on Mike B_KVU.
All right, awesome. Appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of the madness.
Hey, you tell your father hello, and Bill, your son, is knocking it out of the park.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't think he's watching, but it's all good.
Sure. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. He's probably still sleeping. He has a game tonight.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you, Sean. We'll see you. All right, that was Sean Clinch with KView. I'm Carl Schoening with SHN Sports. You're watching YouTube Live. And, hey, Chuck, come on in, and you have a guest with you, and we'll just go ahead and hand off the mic.
Thank you, Carl. I'm with Jonathan Lamb, Leander ISD Assistant Athletic Director. Yes, sir. Okay. So I just mainly want to focus on the 6A realignment and how it relates to Leander Independent School District schools. So, obviously that's Vandergrift, Vista Ridge, and Leander. Mm-hmm. Give me your thoughts.
I think it's going to be a very competitive district again. I think no matter where you go in Central Texas, you're going to have quality football, quality athletic programs overall. It's nice that it's close, and so it's kind of those neighborhood rivalries. And, we were with Round Rock ISD for so long, and then we kind of dropped and split. And so to be back with them, it's good. And then Hendrickson down there also extremely talented. And so it's going to make some fun Tuesday and Friday nights. We're looking forward to it.
Definitely. And we talked about it a little bit earlier. It seems like the UiL, a little bit of the theme might have been proximity. Maybe they had received some complaints about travel or whatever, but it looks like even in most of the districts, the teams are fairly close.
Yeah, I think, last year or the last realignment kind of caught us off guard, and so it looks like they kind of went opposite this time. Some of the 5A, I think they had a challenge with the 5A Division I, II, just number of schools, but I think 6A in Central Texas we're all kind of close-knit, which again makes travel and logistics a little easier for us. And so
and there's familiarity between the players. They played against each other since they were children, so there's not that unknown factor going into games.
Right, and I think that adds to the excitement. You usually want to beat your buddy more than you want to beat some guy you don't know, and so I think that will kind of add to the excitement. I think it's great for fans. Instead of traveling to Hayes on a Friday night, they right down the street at Kelly Reeves, and so hopefully that kind of adds to it also.
Well, I didn't really look at Glenn, it's being the new school in LISD. Where did it end up?
It is 5A Division II, and they're in there with Marble Falls, Elgin, the 2 Bastrop, Brenham, which was a surprise to us, so that's a little bit of travel. But I think they're going to be able to come in and compete. And those guys have been playing varsity ball pretty much since their sophomore year. So they've been battle tested, and so he's got a team that's been there together for 3 years. So I
think they have an opportunity to maybe even find themselves in the postseason in that district with the talent they have.
I agree, and I think Coach Shainfield's done a great job and kind of just building the culture, and so I think that's their expectation next year is they're going to go compete for a playoff spot.
Well, I know you got to go to a meeting, but real quick, the other two 5A schools in the Leander district, of course, Cedar Park. That's the only other 5A school, right?
And Rouse.
Rouse, that's right. Rouse.
Yes, sir.
So talk about that new district. They added Manor, which was a 6A school, and then they added Pflugerville, which was also a 6A school.
That's going to be entertaining. That is a tough district.
It was already tough.
Already tough, and then you add Manor and Pflugerville to the mix. So again, I think that track meet is going to be fun. I think the basketball and then Friday nights, it's going to be awesome. You know, the coaches, and that's what the coaches want. They want to be able to compete against somebody at a high level, and they're going to get the opportunity every night.
Well, and they'll save a little money on travel costs, and Leander ISD is going to compete no matter where they're at, and so that's what we look forward to. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Take care. One real quick question. How much do you miss coaching?
I miss game nights, and I miss watching film. But I can sleep after the game.
And you can always watch film on your own.
Yes.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
That's it. We'll be right back.
Let's see, where's the batteries at? Can I get this one down here?
We had to get a new camera battery for our in-room, but as you can see, it's kind of calmed down a little bit, and we're going to try and just get some reactions. We have a lot of people who are going to be basically figuring out when they're going to be playing at stadiums. They all have to share stadiums and, you know, allocate dates. So a couple people have gone upstairs just to have some meetings, and we'll grab them as they come back down, try and get you a few more names, and we're going to head back into the conference room and get a couple more things going. So be back soon here on YouTube. Follow us. Coach Dean's still on the phone.
That's an answer. I was seeing Park. Jump in there. They're going to say this.
Sure, absolutely.
This is Carl.
How you doing? Josh Mann.
I'm here with Coach Mann of Rouse. How are you, Coach? I'm Chuck Tracy.
Doing well, doing well. Can't
So what do you
complain.
think about your new district?
A lot of familiarity with a lot of teams. We played Maynard non-district, so them being in our district, at least we know them, and you know played Pfluger when we were 6A a couple years ago, and I've seen some tape on them. So from that standpoint, I'm glad it's 7 and not 9. I mean that's brutal when you go into that big district like that. But it is hard right now searching for some Week 4 games. But other than that, it's a good district. I'm excited about it.
Well, y'all should be able to find one. It's just finding one close. And
yeah,
finding
one
right
close
weekend,
right now.
Right?
Yeah, finding one close that's not 8 hours away right now is looking for the challenge. So
you don't think the two 6A schools dropping down to 5A are really going to affect the district much?
You know, we all play each other so much in non-district and districts right now between the 5 and 6. There's some. I mean, both those schools have dropped in numbers, and so I think that's pretty equal. I mean, we played their sub-varsity numbers are about the same. So, of course, they bring a lot of talent. But, right. I mean, that district we were in last year was extremely talented. So, I mean, I always say if you play anybody around Central Texas, and no matter what classification, you better be ready to coach and you better be ready to play some great kids because everybody's got them.
Well, now Rouse is always known for its offensive line, and I know y'all graduated some kids, but how's that look going forward here in off-season football?
Oh, we were blessed. We're returning a lot this year. We were very young. We got our 2 starting offensive tackles back and a guard back, and our quarterback. We got a lot coming back. We got to replace some key seniors. We had some really good senior leadership. And that, to me, is just as vital as replacing bodies. If you got that leadership and kids that want to work hard, and that's sometimes hard to replace, just that grit that they had. So we're working on that right now in off season. We're getting bigger, stronger, faster right now, and hopefully those big kids keep coming through. So that's what we're praying for. Makes it easier on us.
Definitely. Well, Coach, I'll let you get back to trying to schedule Game 4. Okay. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Good luck this season.
Thank y'all.
And that's Coach Mann with Rouse High School. We'll find someone else next.
You know, I was thinking, let's see if this is live production on YouTube here. So I was thinking we could maybe try and check out this board and see if we can get someone to walk us through it. So let's get a shot here of the board and see if we can get you an explanation of that board.
Coach, he's outside talking to coaches from Centennial Central who are in San Antonio. Because up here,
and show you coaches in their natural habitat trying to figure out how they're going to figure out the rest of the schedule. Jim Lowerwald, who used to be an athletic director here in the Round Rock area and a head coach in the Central Texas area, 40 years of career, was just explaining this board to us here. And as you see, basically these teams and coaches are leaving their numbers up. Call us. We are looking for games at this time. So, you know, this August 17th schedule, yeah, these preseason games are, you know, probably 24. Yeah, these are big deals because now all of a sudden, you know, we go into all the way to week 4.
Districts, you know, the smaller districts, the scrimmages are less important than the teams that end up in a 9-team district because, you know, those scrimmages become really important.
Yeah, and you got to make sure you fine-tune your teams. Those 9-team districts, you only get 2, so you got to figure this out. You got Temple, who's looking for somebody, Burnett's looking for somebody, Shoemaker's looking for somebody, Brownwood, Canyon Lake, Ellison, all looking for scrimmages. Then that second week of scrimmages. Salado and Taylor are looking for first week scrimmages.
For two games in the 0 week and week 1. They need a game for each week. So.
Oh, I bet you Hank Carter's phone is blowing up.
Yeah, he's on his door right now.
Yeah, that's a tough draw, but you know, you have.
There's a lot of teams around the state. You know, schools like Lake Travis, they don't mind pre-district traveling if necessary, or bringing in a school from, you know, another city, or even, you know, as Westlake has done, from another state at times. So, you know, that school from Louisiana may fill one of those slots before we're all said and done. So who knows what kind of deals Coach Carter's working on right now.
Well, you might have to expand outwards. We were hoping to maybe talk to Coach Carter, but he's obviously very busy with setting things up. We still look here.
Cedar Park's looking for a game 3 and a game 4, but I heard Coach Absek say to someone just a moment ago, still looking for week 4. Maybe he didn't scratch off week 3 yet, but interesting to see how the schedule will end up shaking out for these teams.
Yeah, and here you get to see basically live what is going on. Over here we have week 4 that will have some games need to be taken care of. We saw Hutto, which wasn't expecting that week 4 to be open, but all of a sudden,
Cedar Park.
Yeah, all these realignments.
Georgetown, look at this. All those schools from that same 4 of those schools, 5 of the schools in week 4 are from that district. So you have Rouse, Pflugerville, Hutto, Georgetown, and Cedar Park all looking for a week 4 matchup, and obviously they can't play each other because they're going to meet in districts in the coming weeks beyond that. So they're all working hard to try to locate a good matchup. You know, one, you don't want to travel too much, but you want to be play a team that's competitive and that can prepare you for district play. So, and teams like Georgetown, Cedar Park, Hutto, and Rouse, all successful playoff teams from a year ago. It's, you know, it's tough to find a team that is going to match up with you well and give you the work you need.
I wonder, you know, maybe we go into some of these coaches, talk to them, what goes into the process of scheduling these games, because it comes down to, Lake Travis might be a little too good for some schools here in week 2 to just be like, oh, we might pass on that, because how much do you really think you improve if you're trying to make the playoffs and you go up against a state champion, you know?
Well, that's why you often see them taking on a Cibolo Steel or, you know, a San Antonio, one of the bigger San Antonio schools, pre-district in week 1 or 2, or they'll play a big Houston school like, you know, it was scheduled to occur Katy versus Westlake, but obviously there was a hurricane. But, you know, they have to play against other power programs because, like you said, a lot of the smaller, less established 6A schools are probably not beating down Coach Carter's door to get a game scheduled in week 1 or week 2. So.
Yeah, and you know, that's probably not where you want your second week of the season to have a, you know, potential blowout game.
Confidence in your team, that's for sure. You're going to go into a matchup that early against the. So
there you have it. You get to see the board here. It's pretty cool how this is where everybody gets to decide go on, and you know, this will be erased by the end of the day. I imagine all of this will be taken care of, but at the moment, people are still figuring it out.
Matchup for a College Station team that went deep into the playoff. Did they win the state title? They were in the game.
They were close.
And then they could take on any of these teams in this Austin area 5A district in that week 3, or I guess not any of them. The only one that's available would be Cedar Park. Maybe they need to get together, or Georgetown. Interesting.
Yeah, lots of interesting ongoings here. We'll get some coaches' opinions on this board as we let them all figure it out and finish up. And once they do, we'll talk to them. So keep it tuned in.
Yes, sir.
Imagination. What we got to do? Visualize.
Oh, so that was
No, let's do it right now. Let's do it.
Okay, bud. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hug.
Yeah, we'll come see you.
We're not going to be exactly how they
Well, you just see a whole bunch of Georgetown and Cedar Park coaches heading to a meeting to try and figure out what's going to go on when they can play certain stadiums, and I guess
that's kind of where we're going to be when we come back and grab them and see if they've had a little bit more of their schedule figured out. But let's go on in here and check out more of what's going on in the conference room. We're back in the hallway here as we're set up. You get to check out how we've been setting up all day, and Carl Schoening along with Chuck Cracy just bringing you this event live, and definitely been an educational experience. This is my first time out here actually, so it's not really a place for media. It's all for coaches. They're all kind of doing their own stuff, and media's trying to just get what they can, and we're trying to give you the best live coverage we can.
Well, and the coaches have been very receptive to us. They haven't appeared annoyed. I haven't run across a coach that's so upset over their realignment that they don't want to speak to us. So, and they've been nothing but gracious. So. And that includes the district employees that we've talked to as well. So right now, I guess they're all in meetings trying to hash out the last little stadium sharing issues that occur. Leander likely to share a stadium with Glenn this season. They had been sharing with Rouse, and then it's not set in stone. The rumors are that Rouse is going to be sharing with Vista at Gupton along with Cedar Park, which puts 3 teams. The way the district is and the number of stadiums, there's going to be 3 teams sharing a stadium. So, it's a matter of, is it AC Bible or is it Gupton Stadium? So should be interesting, and that's probably what they're hashing out. Maybe not who's assigned to the stadium, but who gets to use the stadium on what weekends.
Yeah, mostly logistics right now. Potentially some Thursday night football games might even need to be in order.
That usually happens. In fact, Leander, due to scheduling snafu last year, played all 4 of its pre-district games on Thursday night. Yeah. The cool thing about that is they got to be on regular TV twice, KBVO Game of the Week. So, that's the plus. It changes the whole Friday Night Light stigma, but if the local media is there and you're getting a full legitimate broadcast, then it's pretty nice. So you'll see some teams that are willing to play on Thursday for that. So
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. That's obviously kind of the one stipulation, unless you want to pay the UIL a lot of money. Friday night live broadcasting for video is kind of excluded, but we do a lot of Thursday night live streaming here on both SHN and, as you said, Austin area cable networks. Like to, yeah, they like to do a whole bunch of stuff. So, you know, we're not going to turn down more media coverage for these athletes, and it's great.
Kids, you're right. You know, that also can occur sometimes if the game is played on Saturday for one reason or another. A few years ago, Leander and Rouse's Friday night game was canceled due to weather, lightning and stuff, and so they had to reschedule it for the next Saturday, and so we were able to do a live stream with video then. So it's not, you know, they can always go back and watch the stream, though. It's just an hour after the game ends, I think is the rule, or midnight or something. And so, you know, if you listen to SHN Sports because you can't make an away game, you can always still go back and watch the video later. So.
Yeah, and that's really the best part about what we're doing, just bringing exposure to these student athletes, bringing the game to the people who can't make it out there, or, you know, on the occasion that the game's so good you want to relive it, or you want to queue up the part of your, you know, loved ones play, or even if you are the athlete, just go back and check it out. So it's awesome having you on board. We always appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah, and not that I'm sitting there monitoring the number of views, but you know, you say they go, if it's particularly good, they go back and watch it again. Even the bad ones, I think some of the players go back and study film. And not just in football. You know, we're doing girls basketball this season, and along with boys basketball at Leander High School, and I see those numbers go from, you know, where they are at the end of the game to sometimes they double by the time the next game rolls around. So somebody's watching those, you know, and there's a password, so it can't be the competition. So. Yeah,
exactly, and that's kind of the main thing, making sure that no one gets to get unfair tape advantages, because I've talked to coaches. Lake Travis is now a basketball school on SHN, and I talked to Clint Beatty, and he was all for a broadcast, but not about any kind of video streaming, because, you know, it's an unfair advantage for their future opponents to get tape on them. So,
well,
you know.
And not to mention, you know, not that we're all of that in our analysis, but, you know, we may tip off an opponent to a certain player's skill set that's not demonstrated in the film they see, and then, you know, like they're particularly good when they're left alone behind the arc or something, and they don't see it on film, but if they go back and watch our broadcast, they may hear us talk about what their skill sets are and then prepare for that. And so, you know, as the coach of the home team, you don't want that to necessarily get out and be easily available. So.
Luckily, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm making it up half the time, so you know.
You become familiar with the team you cover, so and that's generally where you have to be careful. So you don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, those who can't play coach, and those who can't coach broadcast.
Yeah, and pretend that they can.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach
yeah.
and broadcast.
Yeah, that's what we do here on SHN. We just have fun, and we get exposure out to these kids and these coaches, and we're going to try and get just a couple more interviews here, but things are definitely winding down at Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex here at Round Rock.
Running a little bit longer than they had mentioned that they might, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, you know, 20 minutes sometimes can turn into 30, 45, so we'll keep you tuned in as to what may be going on later on throughout the day.
So we'll at least be here through 11 a.m., right? So it's at least another 40 minutes.
I think that's fair. Yeah, you know, because I don't think the coaches want to be here much longer. They'll tell the schools that they might be out till noon, 1 o'clock.
Well, they take the extra long lunch and say, yeah, well, it took a little long. We had a long meeting.
Yeah, we had to make sure that we got the schedule set, but yeah, you know, it's a field trip day for the coaches, so we're happy you tuned in to see what's going on here at the district realignment. All right, we'll be back with more information when it comes in.
Yeah, I need we do.
We stay more than 3 years.
Especially after no, everybody will. Yeah, no kidding. We sit there going, we gotta get out of this, now we gotta get out of it.
Coke.
Yeah.
I'm bringing Diet Coke. You give me a Powerade maybe or something like that, or Gatorade?
How about regular Coke?
Yeah.
Thank you. I like that. That's good praise.
Yeah, I don't, Davies walked out. I think Davies left, Coach Davies is excused. But I hadn't seen Coach Dean come back through.
Yeah, he's down that way. What's that?
But you do have us.
I would think as soon as I think Henderson's the only school in this district that's still got our district to start with. They can get that now. This is the school. Empty in here now.
That way we always stay ready right now.
Yeah, because there is free roll. I would think it's, I would think it's pretty good. Appreciate it, thank you.
These have been like gold, quite honestly. You haven't been able to come across one as a media member. All the coaches got one to start off with, and we were able to find one just laying around. So come on, why don't we go ahead and check out what we have here. Well, we just picked it up where it was picked off. So this is what everybody received here at 9 o'clock. They get to see the 2018, 2019, and 2019-2020 tentative volleyball, basketball, football district assignments and reclassification information. So obviously you have some official paperwork and announcements as to how it's going, new schools and conferences they go through, and talk about how they define enrollment. So as you can see, 6A is 2,190 students or above, and there's 255 schools that are classified in that, and there's a lot of schools that are jumping from 5A to 6A, including Austin, Bryan, Dallas.
reclassification data that goes all the way back to the 70s on here, the 60s, no, just the 70s. Pardon my dyslexia. As you see, just basically when there used to be B schools back in the days, and how they used to be classified, and how it is. So this is all just kind of keep everything straightforward. Reclassification, alignment stuff here. It's really interesting. I'll have to go through and take this. Hopefully no one will be too mad at me for nabbing it, as this is just generally what people are looking at, and people who have been here before probably know what pages to flip immediately to, but right now they're just going ahead and getting through important dates and important information, for schools like, people that are just looking at volleyball and how they can start the first day to practice and first day for scrimmages and district and all of that. And you can kind of see all of this stuff basically is very important to these coaches. And it's not as important as necessarily the districts, but it is important information that they'll eventually have to get to. But they're aware of the general tentative dates. And here's the information that everyone's really been looking for. This is the districts as they were realigned. Here we have 6A.
Oh, that did? Okay.
And, we won't go through all of this, but as you can see, this is basically the pages that people were scouring. They knew that they were going to be in 6A, so they go through regions 1, 2, 3, 4, and try and find where they might be. So, if you're in Katy, you're in District 19 6A right now, so we're through all of that. Oh, camera's cutting out, so we'll just go ahead and carry this on in over into the other room.
Go ahead.
Hey, Carl Schoening back with you. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It's been a long day, so I guess we'll just conduct everything else from here. But yeah, these packets, they were like gold this morning. They were being evaluated and scurried, and immediately coaches had to figure out who was in their district, what times they were going to be needing to fill for dates, and we'll just kind of basically flip through and show you a little bit more of some of these interesting things. There's football dates, all kinds of cool things that go into the overall presentation today, as a lot of people needed to be involved. So as you saw just a few moments ago, it's pretty much empty in the conference room that was uncomfortably crowded this morning. The fire marshal would not have been happy with how many people were in that conference room at 9 a.m., but now all the coaches have scattered off into their meetings and just trying to figure out the final details before they can finish everything up. And as we look through it, just some general things that might be interesting to you. For 5A and 6A schools, the first day of conditioning and no contact activities permitted is August 6th. The first day of contact is August 10th, and your first scrimmage is going to be August 17th. The second scrimmage is August 22nd, and third scrimmage August 27th. And the school's opting for a third scrimmage shall not play during week 1. 5A and 6A schools with spring training are allowed to begin first day of conditioning on the 13th of August. First day of contact is the 17th, and then their first scrimmage will be the 24th, and the second scrimmage on the 29th, with that being one of the situations where if they opt for a second scrimmage, it will not be, it'll basically take the place of week 1. Plenty of opening playing dates. It looks like the season will start in 2018 on August 30th. And, hey, that'll be like Christmas to a whole bunch of people. And I'm sure we'll be bringing some game live, if not on August 30th, the 31st, or the 1st. So don't have my calendar in front of me to tell you which days those are, but imagine it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday situation. And then it looks like the season will be over around November 8th, 9th, and 10th. And then we go in the playoffs the next week as we head into it. The opening dates of playoffs will be the 15th, 16th, and 17th of November. And then it looks like the final week of playoffs will be December 13th, 14th, and 15th, with the tentative state championship dates being the 19th, 20th, and 21st and 22nd. So they already have all of this planned out. You know, I'm just looking through all of this kind of stuff. That was for football. There's volleyball dates on here. Conference realignment for volleyball. Basketball goes in towards the back here. So plenty of exciting information for these coaches just to figure out their next 2 years and course a plan of action. Still waiting for coaches to come on down, and we'll try and interview them to come out of their meetings. The Leander schools were over one way. The Cedar Park and Georgetown schools were over the other way. So hopefully they'll come back soon. It looks like we won't have our other camera, but we don't need it for the rest of the day. We're just going to get a few more interviews. We'll wrap it up here at the 2018 UiL District Realignment. Carl Schoening for SHN Sports. Keep it tuned in. Carl Schoening, yep. Carl Schoening with Jason Dean here, the head coach of Georgetown Eagles, and busy day today, huh? You've been all over the place, and I've kept my distance. I've been wanting to interview you all day, but you've been on the phone, and you had a little bit of a shakeup from what I understand talking to Coach Yorker earlier.
Yeah, things kind of fell through. We had some things lined out, you know, coming in with non-district games, but two of the games that I had lined out ended up in 9-team districts, 6A schools. So we lost those. So when the packets came out, we were left with one game only, week 2, with Waco High, and we were left scrambling for a week 1, a week 3, and a week 4.
So what's the process like that? We were going through the board earlier, and you just kind of put your name up there and let people know that you're looking for that, and you try and call other people that also put their name on the board, or you kind of have a heads up at who's also open? What's that like?
Well, you know, the best thing to do, I think, is disperse some of your staff to these same type meetings that are happening in other parts of the state. We had 2 of our coaches go to San Marcos at the Texas High School Coaches Association, their building there. They're having a meeting just like this one there. And we were able to pick up 2 more games from that meeting, you know, just because we had coaches there. You know, they're doing the same thing, writing numbers on the board there, you know, the very same thing that we're doing here. So we're just able to pick up 2 more games there. We're still looking for a week 4 right now, which is going to be difficult because there's not a whole lot of 7-team districts. You know, you've got to be in a 7-team district or less to be able to book a week 4. And most of the bigger schools, the 5A and 6A schools, are not in 7-team districts. You know, now you're looking at 4As, 3As. There's lots of those guys. You know, they're in a 7-team district or smaller. So it makes scheduling difficult.
Are there any limitations as to who you can schedule if they have open dates, or is it kind of just a free-for-all and, hey, this would be a good matchup for both teams?
Yeah, it's coaches, you know, agree. There's no regulations. I mean, you could have a 6A school play a 1A school if you wanted to, but, you know, I mean, it's just coaches, you know, have to agree.
That makes sense. Well, you guys just got out of a meeting, and if that's not classified information, what goes on in these meetings where the coaches just try to, figure out certain things?
Well, the first thing is when you're playing with schools that are multi-school districts. So right now in our district, that's Georgetown, that's Leander, Pflugerville. Obviously, they have 4 schools sharing one stadium. Leander has 6 schools, really sharing 2 stadiums, and then Georgetown has 2 schools sharing 1 stadium. So you try to find an agreement amongst those schools on, okay, what can we agree to that we have the least amount of Saturday games possible. You don't want to, for as much as you can, you don't want to have your stadium open on a Friday night and then the very next week have a Thursday night and a Friday night, if you can avoid that by scheduling. So you just have to sit down and see what's available, with everybody else, and then, be somewhat flexible on, okay, when can we play so that we don't have stadiums open.
Well, we appreciate your time, and I hope today wasn't too hectic for you, and you got everything accomplished.
It was hectic to start with, but field 2 games with quality opponents that we still got to find a week 4. but right now I think there's 4 different schools in our district that are all looking for a week 4. So we're not the only ones.
Well, good luck. Yeah, I imagine it's crazy, but it'll be taken care of by the end of the week, probably, right?
Oh, yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, hope you knock everything out and get back to your busy schedule.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Coach Dean. All right, that was Jason Dean with Georgetown High School, the head coach of the Eagles, and we have all these meetings just wrapping up, and Chuck Cracy here will just a couple moments be hey, Chuck Cracy's joining us right now. We'll have Tim Smith with us in a couple moments, right. But Coach Dean just talking about what we were talking about. These little meetings are just to make sure that everybody is on the same page in terms of sharing these big stadiums, because we've gotten away from local schools having it. Right. So it's going to be an opportunity where Bible will be busy.
Expensive. Not everybody can have one per high school, so
yeah, for sure. We'll go ahead and try and track down Tim Smith for you.
Definitely.
It'll be just one moment.
Sure. Thanks, Coach. How you doing?
Good.
Here with Tim Smith, head coach, athletic coordinator of Leander High School. Coach, the realignment changed what Leander looks at as far as district play goes. It increased the size of the district and really the face of district play, but there's some familiar faces there for Leander. Talk about the new realignment.
Well, yeah, we're excited, and it's always a challenge. There's some great coaches, and Round Rock ISD and Hendrickson's, they do a great job over there, and Drew and Brian do a great job in Leander. So we're excited, getting realignment. Travel will be a little bit different, but it's going to be a very exciting district for all our sports.
Well, of course, we get the 2 familiar 6A schools in Leander, Vista Ridge and Vandergrift. But then we've added some teams that we played in pre-district games in the past few years, Stony Point, as well as Westwood. And then you're throwing in Round Rock High, McNeil, Hendrickson, and Cedar Ridge, who was a quarterfinalist in the playoffs last season. Right. So talk about those new Round Rock teams.
Yeah, they're good. They have good kids, good coaches, and it's always a challenge. Our numbers are low, but our kids they're going to fight and play and compete. So, that's what I'm looking forward to, seeing our kids compete against those guys. So.
Well, and the rules are what they are. We may be a few kids over, but we're over, and so we're 6A. Sure. And we've never really had a problem, even when we were a 5A school playing a 6A school pre-district or anything like that. So that's really not the issue. The biggest benefit that I see, and we talked about a little bit, it looks like the UiL considered proximity for district, because it's really a Wilco super district there in 6A.
Yeah, well, it's closer. Travel's not as an issue, and that'll affect our district budget. But it is sub-varsities is better, and our other sports it helps with the travel. Tuesday nights they won't be coming home at midnight or something like that. So with that, in that respect, it's a lot better.
Can we get an idea of who our 2 non-district tilts will be against?
We got Pflugerville Weiss and Pflugerville. We've been playing Pflugerville since 1920, so I'm not going to mess with that.
Yeah, that's good, because is that going to be at the field?
One of those games will be at the field.
Okay.
So I don't know which one. I texted Coach Raymond a little bit ago, and I don't know yet. So.
Now, I also heard a rumor that, and you may not know anything about this, but I had heard a rumor that the school district of Leander Independent School District is considering adding video boards to the stadium.
That's a rumor. I read that in the paper too. So until they approve that, it's kind of hanging on.
That's just one of those things you'd like, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll use it at practice. So
there you go.
There you go.
Well, and if that's the case, SHN, like they do in Georgetown, wouldn't mind just piping in and getting some of those replays to play on the broadcast.
Well, that's beyond
that's
my
between
opinion.
us and the district, right?
There you go.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
sir.
congratulations,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.
Have
Yes,
a
sir.
good
Thank
day
you.
the rest of the day.
Thank you.
And that's Coach Smith with Leander High School. Here's.
Hey, well, we could kind of wrap it up because I think everybody's gone now. If you're watching as a principal or something like that, no, the coaches are still here. They're very busy. They'll come back when they come back. But, you know, we're pretty much wrapping up. I appreciate you coming out here, Chuck. And, no, it's been a fun day. You know, it's a fun experience. Very much the hustle and bustle it was sold to be.
Right. And it's nice to do something new that you haven't experienced, you know, as a player. Many years ago, I recall district realignment being this ominous thing that you just didn't hear about. You know, it's almost like a tribunal somewhere, and it's really not. You know, it is just a committee of people trying to fairly coordinate competitive athletic districts, and I think they did a good job this year in considering travel for both the school budgets and parental budgets, as well as trying to remain competitive and keep some of those rivalries that are there in place. So it should be an interesting couple of years. I know Leander's excited. I know the Leander Independent School District is excited based on the coaches we've spoken to. So it's going to be fun. I look forward to it.
And I think Coach York, who with Georgetown ISD, was very happy. Jason Dean seemed to be content with everything going on. So
just finding that extra game, that's the tough part for real.
Yeah. You know, maybe I thought I saw Lake Travis was open on that day. Yeah.
He did say 6A schools. So
yeah.
You know, it'd be a good test for Georgetown. Georgetown can compete with anyone on any given night, even if it is the defending 6A state champion. You'd be surprised, especially early in the season, how well a team like that can compete. I referred to a game earlier where Westlake was scheduled to play Katy. Well, because of the hurricane, they didn't play. And College Station was scheduled to play C.E. King out of Houston. Well, they couldn't play, and so College Station ended up playing Westlake with no prep, either team. And you know, it was a tight game. Westlake ended up winning the game against the 5A school, but it's the number 9 5A school in the state. So it was good, and I think they only lost by 7 to Westlake. So, you know, you can find teams to play. And on any given day, you know, that 5A school can sneak up and beat the best 6A school there is. So.
Are you happy with how Leander's district edged out, especially considering we were talking about the proximity being probably the most important thing for us?
That's the big thing for me, but I think a change of scenery is also nice. You know, Leander's had a tough time in football the last couple of years, and they're borderline 5A, 6A, and you know, some of that is a result of an academic program, the International Baccalaureate program. So you have a lot of students within Leander ISD that may not live or be zoned for Leander High School that attend Leander High School. And so you have to count those students. And so Leander likely numbers-wise is a 5A school, but you find yourself in 6A. And as I said, you know, it is what it is. You just got to deal with that. So it's like when you get flagged in a game and it's a 15-yard penalty, well, you can be mad all you want. The penalty's there. So you've still got to move forward from there, and that's what it looks like they're doing. And I think the change of scenery, along with some incoming talent from the freshman class this year, and then the incoming 8th grade class for the year, not necessarily this coming season, but the one after. But I think they'll be competitive this year. But in the one after, they may be having something special at that point. So.
Well, looking forward to it. And, you know, I guess in 2 years we'll be back here to do it again. Any final thoughts as we wrap up realignment in 2018?
No, I'm just looking forward to getting this started. I mean, spring ball hasn't even started, and I'm ready for the season to begin. So I guess I'll have to wait for spring and, you know, go to the spring game and see what happens and see if that's enough.
Maybe the USFL will come back. Well, just a random surprise.
The XFL is supposed to be coming back, but I don't know how that's going to go. So we'll see. Anything with Vince McMahon heading it up is going to be interesting at the very least. So.
Yeah, and more football is always good for especially any Texans.
With that at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that was Chuck. I'm Carl. For our producer Nathan and our cameraman David, thank you for tuning in to this YouTube Live SHN production of Texas UIL District Realignment here from Kelly Reeves Athletic Complex. Stay tuned for more high school sports all across the SHN network. We'll see you next time.